Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Fabulites, and welcome back to channel Be Fabulous You. This is Angela with another edition of Notes on the News, where I read to you headlines from a news feed and share with you if I have any thoughts. My thoughts about the headline, my thoughts about the article, my thoughts about the paragraph following the headline but not fully into the article, my thoughts about the subject matter at large. We don't always have time to read all of the things that we would like to read, but I at least try to be familiar with some of the things that are in the headlines just so that I know a little bit about what go on in the world, and I'm sharing that with you. Thank you for being one of my 1,000 first subscribers. We're working on 1,000. We're working on 1,000. 1,000. Yes, I appreciate you, charter subscriber. And if you're not a charter subscriber, it's not too late. You can go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I think you can still get in with that to that first 1,000 subscribers. If you just rush and go ahead and subscribe now. There's no cost for watching videos on YouTube. It's absolutely totally free. So if you'd like to pay me in likes, pay me in comments, pay me in subscriptions, I sure do appreciate it. Consider subscribing. I just loaded up my my review of WAG's yesterday's episode. There were 2 episodes, so I did one. I'm going to do another one after. So one should already be up. We did Married to Medicine, Real Housewives of Atlanta. What else do I review? Just check out the other things on my channel. There might be some other things you might enjoy. But thank you for being here. Let us proceed with the notes on the news feed. Black outrage is a trend, and we need to stop reacting. Now, metaphysically, I think that that's really, really important. And I do try to pay attention to what I give energy to, because you know energy is currency. Where they say what you focus on grows, that's like your energy is a currency. So when so I try to pay attention to that too. Like, how can I focus on good and God, and seeing through the veil to the truth of good and God. And also, like, a lot of times when I'll see people like, this article is some BS, and then they'll forward it and they have the link to the article that's some BS. A lot of times I won't click on it because I'm like, I'm not going to pay them with my clicks. So, they're saying a lot of these corporations, because, after I saw an article the other day that H&M opened a discount store or something like that, and it's a bad sign for the future of the company. Now, the whole controversy with the cutest little monkey t-shirt that they put little dark-skinned Liam, the model child, in, was they didn't have enough time to plan to open a store before that controversy hit. So I think that what they were trying to do, you've heard the expression, no news is good news. No, that's not the expression. All publicity is good publicity. Something to that effect. That's not how they say it, but dang, there's an expression. But it's basically like, if you're talking about me, whether you're talking about me good or bad, that's good for me. I'm getting your energy. I'm getting your vibration. I'm getting your attention. You putting my name out on these streets. So, I was like, I wonder if that whole thing with baby boy Liam and putting him in that monkey t-shirt was designed to get us talking about their company. And then other stuff, like I try, I use President Zero. I'm like not trying to say your name. There's a belief in some cultures that, as long as people continue to say your name, you continue to exist. So when you've made your transition, when your sisters when your children and your grandchildren and your community continues to say your name, then you continue to exist. Here in Detroit, we have the Charles H. Wright Museum. Charles Howard Wright was a doctor in the Detroit community who was passionate about collecting artifacts and the history of Black folks. And so when we say his name, he's still alive. And even though his body has transitioned, we keep him alive when we say his name, when we pour libations and call the names of our personal and collective and community. All of that, it's like energy. We feed an energy to what we value, to what we believe in. So I was here. I thought, I appreciated that. I think that there's a fine line between talking about tragedy after tragedy and awful thing after awful thing, and also being aware. And I really, I don't know if I struggle with that, but I really try to be aware of what's going on in the world, but not be limited by the small people in the world. South Africa gold mine. About 950 workers trapped underground. So I don't really know very much about the South African gold mines, but the impression that I have is that people come, they don't even live in the communities, but they live in the segregated black communities. I forget what they're called. And they come into the big cities to work in the gold mines. It's terrible conditions, awful conditions. I'm assuming, I haven't read the article and I haven't done any up to the date research, but I'm assuming we're talking about 950 black men. For the most part, and whoever it is, black men, black women, white women, prayers out for those people, for their safety, for their safe recovery, for their family and friends and community, just, peace, for all of us, and just, yeah, just peace for all of us. Let's just leave it at that. So that's kind of 950 people. That's 1,000. That's a lot of people trapped underground. I hear that the working conditions are terrible, and so I don't think that it's necessarily a surprise to some people, but it's very distressing. So just let us keep those people in our thoughts and our prayers. Amazon could make a bracelet that tracks workers' movements and buzzes them if they move in the wrong direction. One of my sisters was telling me the other day, I forget where she worked, but she said she basically had to turn pages all day. And she had to put her finger a certain place and turn it a certain way. And so if she didn't put her finger in exactly the right place, they would say, hey, your finger's not in the right place. And that's what that's like. It's like turning a human being into a computer in a way. Move like this. You're not. Buzz. And is it going to just buzz and make a sound, or is it going to buzz and send an electric current through you? I mean, I don't understand. It sounds like enslaved. I mean, I feel like we're human beings. We're not, computers. Don't be buzzing me because I'm not moving in a particular way. Although I do like to do choreography. And I like to watch choreography. But even when you watch choreography and everybody is doing the same thing, each human being has a unique way of expressing. The music and the movement moves through each of us differently. But I guess, Amazon got a plan for the people who ain't part of the 1%. And it includes buzzing you if you move in the wrong way at work. Flooded Paris street delights wakeboarders. We were just talking about that. So one person's tragedy or a disaster for some is an opportunity for others. Some people are like, oh no, the streets are flooded. This is awful. This is terrible. And it probably is causing some issues. But meanwhile, the wakeboarders are like, woohoo, the streets are flooded. This is wonderful. This is exciting. Let us go wakeboarding. I don't even know what wakeboarding is. Is that surfing on water? I think I clicked on the article and that's the image in my head, but I don't know. But the wakeboarders are happy. And let that be a lesson to you. There is always good and God and happiness everywhere. We just have to seek it out. This Is Us creator Dan Fogelman to receive ICG Publicist Award. I don't know what that is. But I love This Is Us, and Dan Fogelman looked like a white man. And I haven't read any think pieces yet that have convinced me that I don't love This Is Us. I might read something or learn something that might change, but I love This Is Us. Oh, that's one of the shows I review, This Is Us. But they're not going to get me to watch the Super Bowl to watch This Is Us after the Super Bowl. I'm just going to watch it on demand the next day. And I don't care about the commercials. Incredible photos of New York City when sheep roamed Central Park. Like sheep, like wool, like little furry animals. Have you been to Central Park? I've been to Central Park. I just can't imagine sheep roaming around. But I guess that's like in this neighborhood, probably 20 years ago, you wouldn't see pheasants. And now I see pheasants. And every once in a while, I see rabbits, pheasants, rabbits. But I would love to see sheep roaming around Central Park. I'm a city girl, but I like seeing nature. Come on into the city. Google backs a single stylus for all your devices. I like that now a lot of the stores you go in and your finger is the stylus. You don't even have to, they have that little fake pen there. You don't have to use that. You could just use your finger. That's the single stylus we need to be using. Because, carrying that thing around, my husband used to have one phone where his stylus slipped into his phone, and then sometimes it would slip out, and it was supposed to beep when it wasn't in there, and then that seemed to erode. And I feel like we already got enough stuff to keep up with. I don't need no stylus to keep up with, even if it's a universal stylus. But my fingers, they already attached. I don't have to worry about keeping up with them. Okay. California's marijuana legalization bill is one of the most sweeping pieces of criminal justice reforms in state history, and it could help former convicts get a leg up in the cannabis industry. I think I read a headline or an article yesterday, that was talking about San Francisco was looking into people who had been put in jail for marijuana, and they were like erasing some of those records or all of those records or something. And I am here for it, and I'm here for those people who have been when you're in jail, you've lost something. So even if somebody lets you out of jail, they don't give you back, they can't compensate you for the time that you were locked up, for the indignity that you endured while you were locked up, for the abuse and bullshit that you had to deal with. Excuse my language. So, I don't feel like having a leg up on the cannabis business is compensation, but it's better than nothing. Octavia Spencer is planning a free Black Panther screening so brown children can see themselves as a superhero. Yes! America's new workforce is now 70 years old and up. A lot of people are like, I'm just going to have to work until I die. I thought I would be able to retire. They were talking about one company that went out of business, and that Social Security, one thing they were talking about was supposed to be an addendum to your retirement package. But, your Social Security was not designed for you to live off of for the most part, especially if you're like a middle-class white person. But now people are trying to live on Social Security, and it's not enough. And there was one company that just went out of business because they didn't want to pay the retirement packages. That's how it was just like, so you had been working at the company. Back in the day, people would be like, yeah, I worked for 30 years to get my retirement package, and they were like, we ain't got nothing for you, boo. Sorry, suckers. Delta is now allowing its London passengers to track the location of their checked bags through an app. Singapore vaping ban, my last legal puff. Those are e-cigarettes, right? World War II bomb in Hong Kong defused by police. That's deep. World War II was a long time ago, and there's still bombs out there, stuff floating around from World War II that have to be defused. That's deep. A tool, something you created to kill somebody, that conflict is long over, but the potential to kill somebody or somebody's is still just sitting around having to be diffused by the police in Hong Kong. Belarus forests face beetle catastrophe. So the beetles are getting under the trees, so they just steadily, they're getting under the bark of the tree. By the time that you notice they're there, it's too late. So they are cutting down tree after tree after tree after tree. The beetles will die if it gets cold enough, but I think it has to be like negative 36 degrees, and it hasn't been that cold in Belarus since 1941. So they're like cutting, I said 80-year-old trees. People are like, why are we cutting down 80-year-old trees? Because they're like, if we don't cut them down, it's just going to spread. We gotta. So they're having a catastrophe over there. Oh, Canada. Senate backs gender-neutral changes to national anthem. And the national anthem says something like, oh, something about the sons, as in sons and daughters, but they just mentioned the sons. And now they've changed it to, oh, the people, or whatever. They made it gender-neutral. Atari co-founder denied award over sexist behavior. Germany strikes explained. The long and the short of it. Strikes as in people who are not steel workers are going on strike because they want more money, and that's not a big deal for the companies. But what is a big deal is they want to be able to, their full-time work week is 35 hours. They want to be able to have the option to cut it down to 28 hours, still get full-time pay, and be able to come back to full-time within 2 years. And the company, the people that they're negotiating with are like, no. So that's the battle. So they started strikes. They like, this is what we need, because we have old folks to take care of, we have children, sick kids to take care of. So that's just what we need. India unveils world's largest public healthcare scheme. And I mean scheme, as in plan. Like, in other parts of the world, they use scheme to mean like a plan, not like you over there scheming on me. Like, scheme has negative connotations in my head. Does it in your head? But like a plan. So I think it's like 700 a year or 7,000 a year per person. So that's what's going on in India. They're trying to take another step toward universal health care. Top Ugandan musician dies after pub brawl. And I wish they had his name in the title. And I looked in the article because I wanted to say his name, but I don't remember his name offhand. He had a name, and then he had like a nickname that he was known by as a musician. But a pub brawl is like a bar fight. So rest in peace. Black man's family says 10-year-old daughter watched as police ran over her daughter. So ran over her father. So the police had stopped the man. The baby girl was in the car, I think, and another police person drove up in the police car and ran over the man, and the daughter watched. And I'm like, now if you're coming into, like, if you're, like, when you're driving, like on the highway, you're going like 60 miles an hour, but like on the street, you're going like 10 miles an hour. And when you're coming, like, rolling to a stop, you're going slow enough that it seems like if you were to run over a person, you would notice that, like, bump, bump, like, what in the, I don't know how that happened. If you didn't notice the person when you were driving up, like surveilling the scene, as you're supposed to be a trained professional to do, like ascertain what's going on, evaluate. Don't they in the movies talk about how cops have these like super high power skills of observation because they're highly trained to observe? So I don't know what happened, why this child had to watch her father get run over. Employees gave biracial coworker a watermelon with "Happy Half MLK, Happy Black Day" written on it. Chinese man loses license after building own tank. Cardi B is learning the hard way that fame comes with a price as critics become more vocal. Excuse me. It's a knack. I mean, everybody want to be famous and rich, or most people, I'd be rich and famous, and people are like, oh, it's not all it's cracked up to be. You like, I take it. Shoot, I don't care. And I think I saw a talk show host who was like, well, that's what she signed up for. But, you don't know in advance. It seems like you signing up for one thing, and then when you're going through it, you're like, oh, that's what they meant. This is not fun. And then if you're a certain type of person, like I think that some people who have fame, they know how to not tune into, like the comments. They turn the comments off on things. You have to let some stuff go. You cannot engage with the people who have foolishness for you. I feel like even I don't have any big platform, but I have had people be like, or I have had people talk about me. And like, well, could she put some grease on her hair? Like, my hair is pulled back now, but I like my hair, and it's nappy, and I like nappy. I'm happy to be nappy. It's kinky. It does its own thing. And if I sleep like this, it might, but I like that. And I haven't had the experience where if I read a comment and someone has said something about my hair where it makes me feel a certain way, or even makes me feel like I need to respond to that. Like, okay, that's their opinion. And I feel like, but I feel like I noticed some of these famous people, it seems like they respond to stuff that's not productive for them. Like, it seems like it's dragging them down, it's tearing them down, it's like disturbing them, it's upsetting them. Like, Zero might be up in the middle of the night tweeting because somebody said something. It's like, go to sleep, sir. Who cares? I feel like some people don't have to need more assistance in letting some stuff go, because everybody gonna have an opinion and comment, and the more high profile you are, the more commentary you get, unsolicited commentary, and some of it is just mean and nasty. So this child, she just getting it, and she needs some, she like, shoot, this stuff stressed me out. Schmoozey, schmolly, you know what I'm saying? I was trying to do Cardi B, but I didn't do it. Civil rights lawyer joins case against Kentucky cop accused of rape. He pulled people over, be like, I'm going to give you a ticket, or you could have sex with me. Outrage after kids pass note calling black child Nigger in cat class. I didn't even know children pass notes anymore. When I was like, I remember when I was in high school, I might, in 1 hour of class, which wasn't even a full hour, I might pass 80 notes. But I thought they just text each other. But anyway, and the child's mother looks white. The child is very, very light brown. And the school gave the child in-school suspension, and it's like, well, he doesn't exactly really know what it means or what the implications are, and so we feel like that's sufficient. And the mother is like, it's not sufficient. So America, I mean, and it's like, you're like, oh, racism was so old. Oh, that was before the civil slavery is back there. The civil rights movement is back there. We're so the babies, them little kids, these children. I think that little boy didn't look like he couldn't have been more than 12. He looked about 8 or 10 to me. These are little kids continuing, the American way. Cities that lure Amazon with incentives may be getting a bad bargain, new study says. Surprise, surprise. So you give them all these tax cuts and stuff, and then statistically you don't really end up adding more jobs. You just end up losing money because you have more of a tax burden that you've taken on behalf of this rich, wealthy corporation. How much politicians make in every state of the U.S. from 100 to 97,000. That's a big range. Megan Good offers sisterly support to Leslie Jones about finding love. Leslie is like, I try to stay in shape, but I think I'm just going to die alone. I don't know if it's worth it. Now, she's another one who sometimes I feel like, the impression that I get of her in the public on like social media, it's like a bit, it's but this is the new world. So maybe Megan Good will end up being her good friend and her coach and her, relationship coach. Leslie Jones, I was looking at her picture. She's an attractive woman. We have this impression of her, or I do. They have that commercial where she's like, ha, 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 did you call me? I'm Leslie. And she's like all aggressively pursuing that man like she's a desperado. But, she's an attractive woman. So, I don't know why she would die alone anymore so than anybody else. But anyway, especially she take good care of herself. Yay. Go ahead, girl. These nomads spend nearly their entire lives at sea, but they could be the last generation to do so. They only come off the sea to trade or to it's like they basically live on the sea. Like they cook on the sea, they clean on the sea. They live their whole lives in these boat things. They're called the Baju Lot. Dang, and I can't remember what part of the world they were in. But I'm like, oh. No charges for officers involved in death of Dallas sniper. Activists remain concerned about use of lethal robot. And I'm concerned when you say he killed 5 people and then you killed him. So we don't even know if he killed 5. Like you've killed the evidence, the person who could have denied it or said something to dispute your story. So you give us the story, he killed 5 officers, but then we don't have any way to dispute the story because you've killed the man who you say, I don't like that. I don't know what the term is for that, but I don't like killing people who are supposedly the killers and we can't get their story. Entrepreneurship is another area of success for Rihanna. Funky or ignorant? Tweet like the 1600s has Black Twitter at odds. I think it's a little ignorant. Carter G. Woodson initiated the celebration of Negro History Week. So now we're in Black History Month. I think we need to have like African Quarter. We need to keep progressing. So February 1, 1978, Harriet Tubman makes postal history. Was she the first Black woman on a postage stamp? Moment of silence set to honor Memphis sanitation workers. You know that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was in Memphis, Tennessee, supporting the sanitation workers in their strike. And I didn't know this. 2 men had died. It was raining. They were huddled up in their truck. And today is the anniversary of them making their transition because the truck malfunctioned and they made their transition. I think that's what I read. So all across the country, people are doing a moment of silence to commemorate them. And I'm like, wow, battling to save the world's bananas. I want to talk about monoculture, like having these big old plantations and all the same thing, and then also like the varieties of bananas. Like there used to be way more varieties of bananas than there are now. And this cultivation of just one thing is like, it's not healthy and it's not sustainable. The fight to ban a humiliating virginity test. So you get married, you go with the white sheets, the people sitting outside while y'all have sex, and then if the sheet don't come back with blood on it, then you a hoe, and the woman get chastised and beat with shoes and all kinds of foolishness. One woman says that she and her fiance were having sex for 6 months before they got married at his insistence. And so she figured he had her back. And so when her cloth didn't come up red, she ain't even have a backup plan because she figured her husband had her back. When her cloth didn't come up red and the people were like, you hoe, her husband was like, you hoe. And she like, wait a second, I was with you. That's her story. Iron BB, from fat shamed boy to world's strongest man contender. Black Seattle man severely beaten in racist attack suffers traumatic brain injury. Lupito Nyong'o hopes Black Panther will help many envision what Africa would look like if it had never been colonized. Afrofuturism, Afro-presentism, Afri-pastism. Sisters indicted in beating death of 3-year-old Kawan Mason because because they're crazy, so they beat him with a bat. One of them. Casting director Lindsay Chang found guilty of violating Talent Scam Prevention Act. San Francisco plans to erase thousands of marijuana convictions now that the drug is legal. Hall of Famer Alan Page launches emotional slavery exhibit in Minneapolis. Former student who smeared her menstrual blood and other nasty stuff on her roommate's things wants a clean criminal record. Yeah. Your spiritual record will never be clean, Miss Missy. Well, I don't know if it'll never be clean, but that's what you need to be concerned about, your spiritual record, your soul, and what kind of child, what kind of person are you? What kind of human being are you? Yvette Brown explains racist tweet that led her to unplug from social media. Reports of historic black graveyard underneath proposed apartments won't slow contractors' plans for development. That was like the black burial ground. Reports a couple is spending their honeymoon traveling across the U.S. in a converted school bus, and the photos are incredible. High school bully rips girl's wig off for $5 bet. Y'all are dumb. Meet Adam Rippon, the figure skater who is the first openly gay male to qualify for the U.S. Winter Olympics team. HUD lawyers warned Ben Carson of possible ethics violation involving son. Okay, we've looped back around. I'm sorry I chit-chatted for so long. Thank you for being here, being one of our new subscribers, our old subscribers, liking, comment, sharing, subscribing, being you, being fabulous you. Be you. Be fabulous you. Be you.